Today we are learning about Chapter 4, Lesson 5, which can be found on pages 271 through 277 in your book and online. Our objective for today is I can divide greater numbers by multi-digit divisors. Our vocabulary is dividend, and question 1 is where do I place my first digit in the quotient? Question 2, how do I check if my answer is correct?
At a recent rock concert, $22,500 is made in front row ticket sales. If the cost of a single front row ticket is $75, how many people purchased front row tickets? Based on the information given, we need to find $22,500 divided by 75. First, place the first digit. Divide 75 into 225 3 times. 75 multiplied by 3 is 225. 0 remains. Next, divide the tens. Bring down the 0. 0 divided by 75 is 0. 75 multiplied by 0 is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. Finally, divide the ones. Bring down the last 0. 0 divided by 75 is 0. 75 multiplied by 0 equals 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. 22,500 divided by 75 is 300. Let's check for reasonableness by estimating. Round 75 to 70 because 21,070 are compatible numbers. Replace 22,500 with 21,000 because 21 and 7 are compatible numbers. 21,000 divided by 70 equals 300. Our estimate of 300 equals our exact answer of 300. So our answer checks. So 300 people purchased front row tickets.
Okay, let's take a look at an example in your book. I'm on page 278 on example 2. And you'll notice this little tutor button. In addition to the video we just watched, you can have a tutor walk you through the steps. So it's this little purplish button with the little talk bubble. Okay, so it says to first estimate, because that'll give us somewhere that we can do that reasonable check. So we can estimate 45,000 divided by 150. So then we can do 45 divided by 15. And we can cancel 0 from our divisor and dividend. And then we know 45 divided by 3, our basic fact, or 45 divided by 15 is 3, and we have 2 zeros. So our quotient should be about 300. Now we're actually going to divide. So 46,534 divided by 152. So we know, well, 152 can't go into 4, so now let's look at 46. 152 can't go into 46. So now we'll look at, can 152 go into 465? Well, yes, it can because we know 465 is more than 152. So now we have to figure out how many times. So we can try 152 multiplied by 2. Okay, so I worked these out to the side. I did 152 times 2 and got 304. So I thought that was probably a little too low and that it could go into it a little more. So then I tried 152 times 3, and I got 456. So I thought that was probably as close as I could get. So I'm going to write my 3 above the 5 in the 465. Now we'll do my multiply step. 152 times 3, and I already figured that out, and it was 456. And now I can subtract. So I need to borrow here. $15 minus 6, and I get 9. Okay, so now I have 93. So I have to think of, does 152 go into 93? No, it doesn't. But I can't just jump to make it 934 yet because I have a space up here that I have to fill in. So I have to write that it doesn't go into it. It goes into it 0 times. So now I do 152 times 0, and I get 0. Subtract 93 minus 0, and I get 93. 93 is less than 152, so now I can bring down the 4. So now I have 934. Now I have to figure out how many times 152 can go into 934. Okay, so I worked this off to the side again. I first did 152 times 5, just to guess, and I got 760, so I thought that it could go into it a little more. So then I did 152 times 6, and I got 912. So I think that's as close as we can get. So I'm going to write up here my 6. Okay, so now my multiply step, 6 times 152, and I already figured that out, and it was 912. So now my subtract step, so 934 minus 912, and I get 22. So now I have to think, is 22 less than 152 for my check step? Yes, it is, but can 152 go into 22? No. Do I have anything else left to bring down? No. So that's my remainder. So my quotient is 306, remainder 22. So was I close to my estimate? Yes. So then I can work it out by multiplying 306 times 152 plus 22 to make sure that I get my dividend. Okay, so look back in your questions. Question 1 was, where do I place my first digit in the quotient? And question 2 is, how do I check if my answer is correct? So make sure you answer those in the form, please.